Love him or hate him, President Donald Trump and his family have capitalized on the reality star turned politician's fame. But while most of the Trumps are making headlines, one family member has managed to skirt the spotlight. 14-year-old Barron Trump is the only son of President Trump and the First Lady. And here's what America's first kid is all about. Barron Trump is one of 5 children from Donald's 3 marriages. Barron's older brothers Donald Jr. and Eric are the children of Donald and his first wife, Ivana. Also from the first marriage is Ivanka, who works as an official assistant to the president, while her husband, Jared Kushner, is a senior advisor. Barron's 2 older brothers often appear in the spotlight due to their leading roles in the Trump Organization. And all 3 of the older kids made appearances during their father's campaign, speaking at both the 2016 and the 2020 Republican National Conventions. The siblings were also joined by their younger sister, Tiffany, from Donald's second marriage to Marla Maples, who spoke in support of her father as well.
Our generation is unified in the facing the future in uncertain times.
While Barron may have been absent from the official podium, we're certain he would have been speaking too if he were just a little older. And it's not like he isn't familiar with being on TV. Barron made his TV debut at just 2 months old on the Oprah Winfrey Show. At that time, Oprah's longtime friend Gayle King interviewed Donald and Melania and effectively introduced little Barron to the world. When asked what it was like to have a baby again after so many years, the then 59-year-old Donald said, "I think it's terrific, and Melania is a fantastic mother." Melania also told King that Donald was a great father and that he spent time with Barron every morning watching TV and reading newspapers. The 3 then got to talking about the choice in name. Donald said, "It's a name I always loved, but really never had the courage to use."
So, Daniel, you're not opposed to changing diapers, you just haven't had to do it yet. But you know how to do it.
I would be able to do it, yes.
Yeah.
After their chat, King toured the stunning Trump nursery, which was decked out with a beautiful crib and lots of stuffed animals. When Barron was born in 2006, he became the recipient of some pretty lavish baby gifts from A-list stars. Fashion designer Dennis Basso sent the baby a white mink blanket, and famed journalist Barbara Walters sent him a massive stuffed dog, according to People. Even Ellen DeGeneres sent the new baby a gold stroller with his own chandelier. Melania was later photographed pushing Barron in the stroller around her penthouse. Other friends reportedly sent a number of onesies to baby Barron, many that featured Donald's catchphrases from his Celebrity Apprentice days, including, quote, "You're fired." But even now, Barron is still raking in the spectacular presents. It's not uncommon for international leaders and governments to bestow gifts upon the president and his family as a gesture of goodwill. Often seen as tools of international diplomacy, the Washington Post reported that these items symbolize the friendship and journey shared between countries. Historically, some of these gifts were even actual animals, too. According to reports, President Ronald Reagan received a baby elephant from Sri Lanka. President George H.W. Bush received a Komodo dragon from Indonesia, and President Richard Nixon and his wife were gifted 2 pandas from China. Considering all of that, it may not come as much of a shock to learn that Barron received a horse from Mongolia in 2019. As noted by the AP, the nation has often gifted horses to its dignitaries. Barron's horse, named Victory, will remain in Mongolia. The press secretary at the time said that the family was, quote, "very grateful for the gift."
Thank you very much for the horse. Did you see a picture of the horse? Not yet. Beautiful.
Thanks to his mother's homeland and native language, Barron speaks both Slovenian and English fluently, according to Bustle. Additionally, his mother told People magazine in 2009 that Barron also speaks French, making him a trilingual toddler at the time.
I have to go to school now.
Yeah, you will have lunch and then you go to school.
Now I'm gonna go.
Yeah, first you will have lunch and then you go to school.
According to Mary Jordan, author of The Art of Her Deal, Barron continues to speak to his mother in Slovenian to this day. And apparently, the 2 even share the language in the presence of the Secret Service. Jordan told CBS News, "There's a unit within the family unit, and it's Melania, her mother, her father, and Barron, and they all speak Slovenian."
Their integrity, compassion, and intelligence reflects to this day on me and for my love of family and America.
Fun fact, reportedly, no one in the Secret Service speaks Slovenian, but they may have picked up on a few phrases by this point. Jordan also revealed how Barron and Melania's conversations impact the president, who, unlike his son, did not learn his wife's native language. Jordan said, "He has said it annoys him sometimes because he has no idea what they're saying." Maybe someday Barron will catch up with his mom, who reportedly speaks 6 languages herself. Like so many other American teenagers, Barron appears to be a total sneakerhead. In fact, he has made his signature kicks his most notable fashion statement since moving into the White House. As for what his favorite brand appears to be, Footwear News reports he's a fan of the New Balance 574 Core. Barron has happily sported those sneakers on more than one occasion. He was photographed in early 2020 wearing the sneakers in black. And a couple of weeks earlier, he was spotted wearing a different pair of the shoes with what appear to be reflective detailing. Then, during Thanksgiving in 2019, Barron again rocked an all-black edition of the shoe. Finally, in March of 2019, he was seen wearing a camel-colored version of the same style. It's safe to say Barron has found his footwear of choice. First children are practically staples of the White House. Trump's predecessor, President Barack Obama, brought along his two young daughters, Sasha and Malia, when he took office. And both kids and teens have lived at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue during past administrations. But when Donald won the 2016 election, Melania made it clear that she and Barron would not immediately be moving from their Manhattan penthouse. Apparently, she didn't want to interrupt Barron in the middle of his school year, according to the New York Times. While Melania also worried about exposing Barron to the scrutiny of the press, the pair finally moved to Washington, D.C. in June of 2017. Even so, Melania remained cautious of the decision. According to People magazine, she was reluctant to relocate not just because of Barron's schooling, but also due to her love of New York City.
And we love to live in Washington. We have a very busy life, and it's exciting as well.
Despite their differences in political views, several former first children have jumped to Barron's defense when he was targeted by haters. Criticism of Barron's appearance and demeanor began as early as his father's inauguration, according to People. For one, Chelsea Clinton quickly defended Barron after the inauguration in 2017, tweeting, "Barron Trump deserves the chance every child does, to be a kid. It's high time the media and everyone leave Barron Trump alone and let him have the private childhood he deserves." Clinton wasn't the only first kid to defend Barron either. Jenna Bush Hager told the outlet that the unwarranted criticism made her angry, explaining, "The truth is, obviously, Barron Trump didn't ask his dad to run for president. It wasn't his decision." But Barron's mother likely offers the most constant protection from negative press. Most notably, when the late actor Peter Fonda tweeted that Barron should be removed from his family in an attempt to bring attention to the immigration crisis in the United States, Melania reported Fonda to the Secret Service, according to People. The tweet garnered significant outrage and was then deleted. Later, Stanford law professor Pamela Karlan made a derogatory comment about Barron during his father's impeachment trial.
"So while the president can name his son Barron, he can't make him a baron."
Melania fired back, tweeting, "A minor child deserves privacy and should be kept out of politics. Pamela Karlan, you should be ashamed of your very angry and obviously biased public pandering and using a child to do it." Karlan later apologized for her damaging remarks.
And it was wrong of me to do that. I wish the president would apologize, obviously, for the things that he's done that's wrong, but I do regret having said that.
Barron has become the spitting image of his father as he's grown up. But according to Melania, he resembles his father in other ways too. So much so that she has a special nickname for him. She revealed to Parenting, "He is independent and opinionated and knows exactly what he wants. He's a mixture of us in looks, but his personality is why I call him Little Donald." Melania also noted that Little Donald admires his father's career and success. She said, "He likes the way he talks, the way he is. They have beautiful respect and admiration for each other." Many children have lived in the White House over the years, but for quite some time, only daughters have resided at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Obama had two girls, as did George W. Bush. And before that, President Bill Clinton had a daughter as well. In fact, Barron was the first boy to move into the White House in over 50 years, according to CNN. The last presidential son to reside there was John F. Kennedy Jr., whose father was assassinated in 1963 when he was just 2 years old. When Donald won the election in 2016, presidential expert and author Kate Anderson Brower suggested to CNN that Melania might benefit from speaking to former First Ladies about their experiences raising kids in the White House. That's what First Lady Hillary Clinton did when she asked Jackie Kennedy for advice on being America's first mom. Donald Trump isn't the first president to play golf in his downtime, but he is certainly dedicated to the sport.
Because I'm going to be working for you. I'm not going to have time to go play golf.
But Trump doesn't just play golf either. He's the proud owner of 11 Trump-branded golf properties in the United States alone, according to Golf Week. Of course, it's not too surprising then that the president and his youngest son spend time on the links together regularly. According to Politico, Donald golfs frequently and is often joined by his family, including Barron and his siblings. Sources close to the president also claim that he uses his golf weekends to bond with Barron. A close friend told the outlet, "I've seen Barron out there with him on a few occasions. He's a good athlete in his own right." And from the looks of it, Barron was hitting the golf course with his dad even before his family moved into the White House. In 2014, Melania posted a snap of the pair on her Facebook page while they teed off at the Trump golf property in Scotland. As he's grown into a teen, Barron's clear passion for soccer has been well documented. In 2017, he was fortunate enough to meet players from the DC United team while they were visiting the White House, and he chatted with forward Patrick Mullins and midfielders Julian Boucher and Marcelo Sarvis about the game. The team then gave Barron an official game ball which had been signed by the team. Shortly after their exchange, Mullins told the Washington Post, "Barron was very knowledgeable about soccer, knew about DC United, and was interested to know more. For a little kid to have a passion for the game and be knowledgeable and have a conversation with us makes me feel good about kids growing up playing the game." In 2017, Barron was also recruited for the U.S. Soccer Development Academy and even scored a position on DC United's Under-12 team, as noted by Soccer America. And in other news, a year later, even Russian President Vladimir Putin appeared to know Barron's into the game.
That will go to my son Barron. We have no question. In fact, Melania, here you go.
Given that Barron doesn't appear in public too often, any changes in his looks are easily noticeable. So when Barron emerged from Marine One with his parents in August of 2020 and towered over his 6'3" father, the internet went nuts with speculation immediately. One Twitter user asked, "Does anyone know if he can play ball?" Another said that the 14-year-old Barron should have been arriving at the NBA draft instead of the White House. Barron's stature shouldn't be too much of a surprise, though, given both of his parents' heights. His dad is well over 6 feet tall, and according to CBS News, Melania Trump is 5'11". In case you forgot, she was a model after all. Clearly, Barron has had a growth spurt on the world stage. And who knows, maybe he'll trade his soccer ball for a basketball someday. Wherever life takes him, we're pretty sure that, as much as he may prefer a little more privacy than the rest of his family, we'll be keeping up with Barron as his bright future unfolds. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more list videos about your favorite celebs are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.